Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cents Switch and Gaming video for this week, where I take a look at some of the stories that came out in the gaming world for this week, or the ones that I picked that I thought were interesting, and give you my thoughts and my opinion about it. So why don't we get started? I believe that we have like 4 stories we're going to be taking a look at. So we'll start the first one, and the first one has to do with Shadow of War, the upcoming sequel to Shadow of the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor game. Very good game though, one of the few good licensed games that I really enjoyed and all, so it was definitely fun. It followed a little bit of, gameplay, had a similar approach to, the Arkham series, but added some different features and all, but either way, the game is kind of sort of marred in controversy recently, and it has to do with a decision that WB Games has made. It's not sitting well with a lot of people. So it has to do with a lot of the microtransactions that will be added into the game, and apparently it's going to be in both the single player and the multiplayer. From an article posted on Push Square, again I'll have a link in the description, it points out that basically reads that Middle-earth Shadow of War is getting loot boxes and of course microtransaction. Being a single player game, this announcement from publisher Warner Brothers and developer Monolith Productions has already got onlookers up in arms. Now, alright, basically it says that the whole thing is that you could purchase like loot chests, war chests, XP boosts and bundles. The developers are saying that the post states that no content will be locked behind spending actual money. That's what they're basically saying. And then a follow-up to it has pointed out that it turns out it will have a multiplayer feature that, according to Eurogame, you'll essentially be able to invade the fortress of other players and attempt to conquer them. The social conquest mode has 2 settings: friendly and ranks. Friendly allows you to invade, without risking the army you build up, while rank will see your followers die permanently if they are killed in battle. It's the latter details that has some people worried. If you're going to go looking for some Highland loot, then you get from conquering another player fortress, and your best warriors are cut down during the assault. Isn't that potentially pushing you to spend real money on rebuilding your forces? Though, so basically a lot of people are not happy about this, and I can understand and see why they are very unhappy about it. It's just, and the whole issue with microtransactions this has been sort of a controversial issue that we've seen in a lot of games, particularly a lot of $60 retail type games, and it's not sitting well with some people, and I certainly don't disagree with that argument. The fact that they'll have these loot boxes available in the single player mode, which, while technically that may not sound bad, at the same time it gives the impression that they're setting it up in a way where you have to grind and constantly continue to grind, and that they're putting you in a position where you have to. This will help speed up the process, which I'm grinding can be okay if it's done correctly, but this has the potential of being really bad. And the multiplayer, I'm not a big fan when they do something like this, especially when it's a player versus player. It makes it feel like that they could just simply buy and sort of cheat their way while giving other players a disadvantage. And we've heard this complaint before. Now, that's not to say there aren't games that use microtransactions and haven't abused it, okay? There are 2 games I could think of. Unfortunately, these are mobile games, depending on how you look at it. Either going to like the games I suggested or not. The first one, of course, is Fallout Shelter. That was a game that was developed by Bethesda that was released on your phones and tablets, where you do have these lunch boxes. However, you can earn them either through playing the game or buying them, and when you do buy them, they are simply just random items, basically different weapons, different characters, outfits. So it's sort of, they kind of set up in a way where, yes, it's there, but it's not being forced upon you, unlike, say, a game like Clash of Clans and all, which is notorious for that. And the other one, is, of course, is Fire Emblem Heroes, that was released earlier this year by Nintendo, where you get orbs that basically you use to get more characters and so on, and you could spend money to get them, or you could basically complete certain missions to logging into the game every time you boot up the game and you get one free orb. Two, if you sign up, two, if you're hooked up to My Nintendo, and so on. So there are games that do microtransactions well, but I can still understand why people were upset about this, and rightfully so. I really do not think these microtransactions should be in a basically a AAA $60 game. I think it makes it sound like comes off as basically saying they're desperate for cash and their games are not selling well and they need to do something like this. And it's really scummy. It really is. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are games that Warner Brothers games, WB Games have done that I like, but this kind of practice I'm not a big fan of, and I really wish that they did not do this, and it's going to be interesting to see how many people are going to buy the game regardless of this or not. For me personally, after hearing about all this, I'll probably wait a bit before buying the game, maybe get it when some of the stores I know do the buy two get third one of equal or lesser value for free, so we'll have to wait and see. But right now, again, I can see why people are a bit upset about this. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we will get to part 2 of our story, and this one involves Jim Sterling, aka the Jimquisition, over a controversy regarding his review of Hellblade. So, take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video, and for this one we're going to be talking about a bit of a controversy, basically for the game Hellblade that also involves Jim Sterling, aka the Jimquisition. This is my 4th time trying to film this part. I've been having some issues with my computer. Hopefully it's been resolved now, though. Alright, so anyway, getting on to the point, though, as some of you probably are aware, the game Hellblade just recently came out, and the game has gotten some high praises. I think it's available on PC and PS4, but it's also gained some controversy, ranging from some of the premature deaths in the game, where if you die too many times you start from the beginning, to supposedly a game-breaking bug, which at a certain point you take a torch and you go through a waterfall, and unfortunately, if you miss sort of the spot where you have to relight your torch, the game automatically autosaves and you can't go back, and you're sort of stuck with that problem because if you go forward, I believe you die or so on. I have the story, the link's in the description of this video with all my other links for any of the stories I talked about, so you can take a look at that, though. But the biggest one has to do with a review by Jim Sterling, though, aka the Jimquisition, who recently gave Hellblade a 1 out of 10, and the fact that he sort of put the video on private, or supposedly took the video down after it was made, though. From a post posted on by Crave.com, C-R-A-V-E, it points out that Sterling, host of the popular show Jimquisition, had basically scored Hellblade, supposedly at a 1 out of 10, awarded the game 1 out of 10, despite praising the game solely due to him encountering game-breaking bug that prevents him from making any progress, and somewhat ironically considered the absence of a true permadeath, PERMADEATH mechanic start from the beginning. Sterling swiftly took down the review after discussing his score with his followers, and from what I understand, he told Metacritic to take his review down, as it sits at supposedly review in progress, although I don't know if that has changed or not. stating in a later video that he had scored Hellblade so low as a result of being frustrated by the game-breaking bug, but that up until that point he had thoroughly enjoyed the game. However, while he had initially believed that his progress was halted as a result of a freak accident, it has now transpired that more people are encountering this bug in their own playthrough. A player on the Steam forums have revealed that they too have stumbled upon this bug, causing them to become stuck and unable to make any progress. So, alright, this is sort of an interesting kind of a situation. I do have two opinions at least on this. First of all, I have to say, if I haven't played the game, so I don't know about the game breaking bug or anything like that. Although I would like to try it out though. But I will say, if this is true and this game breaking bug exists, I think then I'm very disappointed in you, Ninja Theory, that you would ship this game in under that condition though. Now, hopefully they'll have a patch and fix it up really soon, but still, I do think that is unacceptable that that game was shipped in that kind of condition right now. Secondly, I will say this. I am a fan of the Jimquisition. I've seen some of his videos, and some of his videos and some of the stuff he writes does make sense and does give a good point. But every once in a while, I do feel that he's, sometimes in his videos and his reviews, he rambles on like an idiot sometimes, or a maniac in a lot of his videos. And the fact that he took this video down, though, is very interesting, because it now has, and now that I believe that some people, I'm not saying everyone, will be thinking like, if he took this down, does that mean he's going to take other videos down? And the fact that he was so frustrated on this and all, and this has sort of opened the doors of people accusing him of him either being biased to certain games, to being an SJW, which I hate to say it, sorry, but I don't buy the SJW angle, because I feel that card has been played so many times in situations that really isn't an SJW situation, and I think that card has been played way overboard. To me, those who play the SJW card are just as bad as those who play the race card in situations where racism is not really there. But anyway, Jim is known for doing certain controversial videos, and sometimes he's in the right, sometimes he's in the wrong. Like, for example, I don't agree with his review, or I don't know if this is an example or not, but I don't agree with his review of Breath of the Wild, giving the game a 7 out of 10. I think it deserves either an 8 or a 9 out of 10. That said, I do agree, it is his channel, it is his video, and if he wants to give it a 7 out of 10, that's his decision. I didn't find the weapons breaking as frustrated as much as he did, though. Some people may find that to be a bit different, but that's, again, everyone has a different opinion about that. But while I don't agree with his review, I don't believe he deserved to be DOSed over it, though. However, I do feel he kind of opened himself up to this, especially when he did a video saying how it's okay to pirate and steal from Nintendo. So I do feel to some extent that, and I do feel that sometimes he rushes to his video. Sometimes he feels like it just comes off as this doesn't make any sense, to why didn't he review, if he did a review before the patch came out, why does he do another review after the patch came out? And again, it's his channel, he could do whatever he wants with it though, but I will admit that some of his criticisms go a little bit overboard. How it's okay to steal from Nintendo was one of them. The other one he just recently did this week regarding how he thinks it's a big deal over the fact that one of the characters from the Lord of the Rings game with the upcoming Middle-earth Shadow Award is a female and not the spider or so on. So he's known to do some of this stuff with his videos, and sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. So bottom line, it is sort of surprising that he decided to take down this video. I do feel it kind of opens him up to other people saying that he should re-review some of the games that he gave a bad score, mostly because maybe now the game's been patched and all that stuff. So I do feel he kind of opens himself up for that. Whether he does that or not, who knows? I don't think this is going to impact his channel or anything like that. So, but it is kind of interesting that he took that video down, though. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, I'm going to be talking about NVIDIA and how they are recently happy with Nintendo lately, though. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the third part of our My 2 Cents Switch and Gaming video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be talking a bit about NVIDIA, which seems to be pretty happy where things are going with their chip inside the Nintendo Switch, and they are certainly making a lot of money off of it, and they have recently praised Nintendo regarding the Switch. Excuse me. Excuse me. From an article posted on Nintendo Today and in several other sites, which again, I'll have a link in the description, it says NVIDIA is one of the main components makers for the Nintendo Switch, making the CPU GPU chip in the console. Excuse me. They praised Nintendo in the past, and the praise isn't stopping anytime soon. Speaking to investors today, NVIDIA CEO Jen Huns, Genhsun, Huang, again, I apologize if I'm not saying his name correctly, praised Nintendo as an innovator and risk taker, and says what we all knew, the Switch is doing well in the marketplace. Here's what he had to say. Quote, the Tegra, T-E-G-R-A, business consists of basically three parts at the moment. One major component of it is the Nintendo Switch gaming console, and it's just doing incredibly well. I'm so happy for Nintendo because they're risk takers, they're innovators, they're not influenced by what other people do, and they're original thinkers. And I just love the way they invented the Switch, and that's why, and the way they've taken it to the market. I'm so happy for them, and it's doing really well. He has in the past praised the Switch in a last earnings call 3 months ago, where he said the Switch was an incredible success, but it's no surprise they are praising Nintendo and the Switch. After all, it's big misses for NVIDIA, who expected to make $400 million this year alone on selling components for the Switch. Now, some of it there are so many ways you could look at it. Some of it could be like some people think he's just praising. Yeah, that's true. But obviously, NVIDIA must be really happy with working with Nintendo, because clearly they're making a lot of money off of the Nintendo Switch, as you see here, especially with my Nintendo Switch right here. Simple download, choose that. Let me turn this off very quickly. Put it back in the dock. Alright, I accidentally turned it on by mistake. But obviously, both NVIDIA and Nintendo are really happy that the Switch is doing extremely well for them. And I'm glad that it is, though. I mean, I've had the Switch, though, for a couple months now, since about in March, already August, March, April, May, June, July, August, for 5 months, though. And I still enjoy the system. I think there's more they could do to it, but overall, I like the concept and the idea that it's a console you could bring with you on the go. So I'm really glad that the system's doing well, and I'm really glad NVIDIA and Nintendo are happy, though. It'll be interesting to see going forward how well they're going to be singing the praise over it, given where the Switch is right now. Will the Switch in a year or so continue to do very well, or will it fall off the market, or fall from grace, or anything like that? So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it continues to do well, and hopefully this is the start of a partnership which, from what I understand, could last a decade. And if so, it will be very interesting to see what NVIDIA provides for Nintendo going forward in terms of if they make a spiritual successor to the Nintendo Switch. But overall, it sounds like both Nintendo and NVIDIA are very happy. To me, I think that's great. Here's to hoping that partnership lasts for a long time, and here's to hoping that we'll see more ideas like the Switch. Maybe we'll see a Switch successor at some point down the road. I mean, I think it's way too early before we see anything like that, but it'll be interesting to see what a Switch successor will be and what kind of chip NVIDIA will provide, though. But overall, both parties must be happy that they're making money off of this, and that's really a good thing. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we'll get to one last story, though, in which, while this may have been happy news on Nintendo and especially NVIDIA side, there's somewhat bad news for Nintendo, depending on how you look at it, and that is they're being sued. So I'll get to that once we come back from our break, so take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And I know some people may not like this, but I have to unfortunately end it on a sour note, at least for Nintendo, depending on how you want to look at it, though. And part of that has to do with a lawsuit that recently has been filed. From a story... Oops, wrong one. My bad. There we go. From a story posted on Nintendo Life, which again I'll have a link in the description, it points out that a company named Game Service has launched a patent case against Nintendo Switch and the Joy-Con concept. It basically points out, now this has happened before. We've seen lawsuits against Nintendo regarding the Wii during the Wii era, to the 3DS though. So apparently is the first, as apparently now the Switch is getting this one. As reported by Engadget, a lawsuit has been launched citing patent violation, namely that the Joy-Con concept is alleged too similar to the detachable controller and flexible bridge selection seen in previous Gameverse product. As in the norm of these cases, Gameverse wants a substantial settlement and for Switch sales to be stopped. These are, for those know, basically this is a company that created a controller that you could put on your tablet, and now they've created controllers that can be used for smartphones and tablets, though. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I'm not 100% sure that they have sort of a case, because like I said earlier, we've seen this used before against the Wii with the motion controls, and to basically with the 3DS, I think with some of the 3D free glasses and so on, and either of those cases never seem to have succeeded and not really damaging the success of the 3DS or the Wii or the original Wii. And I'm just not sure this one is going to succeed as well. Again, I could be wrong, and based on some of the pictures I've seen of it, though, it does have some... while might be the whole detachable controller thing may not be anything new, I can't see what the similarities is. I mean, yes, you do have a detachable controller, but it doesn't have what the Switch has, which is, or at least as far as I'm aware of, the motion controls, the HD rumble, I think one of the odometers or something like that, if I'm saying that name correctly. So I'm not 100% sure if this company has a case against Nintendo, and I'm going to lean over towards the fact that they probably don't, and I can't see how this one is going to last. Now, I could be wrong, and they may have a case after all. I mean, again, I'm no legal expert or anything like that, but given how the lawsuit against the Wii was handled and ended up Nintendo winning that case, and the 3DS, I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing with the Nintendo Switch as well. I just don't see them winning this case. Again, like I said, I could be wrong, but that's where I am leaning towards on this. So it's unlikely that Game Service or Gameverse or something like that, again, I apologize if I'm not saying their name correctly, though, it has any grounds or anything like that. Again, you can read the article, you could take a look at yourself and see what their products have put out and see if there's a comparison or not, but overall, I have to say, I highly doubt they have a case. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week, And again, these are my opinions, but what are yours? What are your thoughts about Shadow of Wars and the microtransaction? Do you think people are going way overboard with this, or do you think there's a justification to this? Do you think people have a right to be angry that they're putting microtransaction in what basically is going to be a $60 game, exactly, in both the single player and the multiplayer? What are your thoughts about the Hellblade controversy? Do you think Jen Sterling was in the right to basically give the game a 1 out of 10? Do you think he was right to take down the video, though? Do you think he overreacted? Do you think he did not overreact to it? And what are your thoughts about NVIDIA and Nintendo's success so far with the Switch? Are you pleased with that? Are you happy about it? Have you picked up a Switch, if you're lucky enough to find one right now? You think we could see more out of this partnership? Do you think something good? Do you think we could see maybe... Do you think it's possible that a mid-generation Switch will happen, or a spiritual successor, or successor for the Switch down the road, or anything like that? And what about this lawsuit that's been filed against Nintendo? Do you think this company has a case against Nintendo, or do you think most likely it's going to fail like we saw with the Wii and the 3DS and so on? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would really appreciate it, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to donate. Feel free to share this video if you want to. That would be great. And I'm gonna get to this part now. Feel free to donate to this channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or through Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And it's evening in Southern California, so I'll be getting ready for bed soon. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good evening. Bye!